Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our Tuesday evening Bhagavad Gita discussion. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarini Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So once again, welcome everyone. So last time we were discussing Bhagavad Gita Chapter 4, text number 24 onwards. So just a brief recap what we have been discussing. So Lord Krishna has talked about the principle of karma earlier, how one should act in knowledge, in the sense one should not get attached to the result of one's karma, and one should not consider oneself as the proprietor, not have expectations in this world, and be free from the dualities. So these are the principles which Krishna has spoken about karma. And then Lord Krishna further takes on to that, stating that rather one should actually act as a principle of sacrifice. The human life is meant for sacrifice. And Krishna utilizes the metaphor of a yajna. So that was text number 24, which we discussed last time. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagno Brahmana Hutam Brahmeva tena gantavya Brahma karma samadhina. So for those who are completely absorbed in Brahman, or in our devotional aspect, we can say completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness, the act of offering is spiritual, the oblation is spiritual, fire of sacrifice is spiritual, the offering is spiritual, and the person who views everything as spiritual, he attains to the spiritual destination. So we talked about here, Brahma refers to spiritual in general. Brahma does not mean the impersonal aspect of the Supreme Lord or the Brahma Jyoti aspect of the Supreme Lord. Here, Brahma simply refers to as a spiritual aspect. So the way one should act in this world is seeing everything, every object and every activity as part of the Supreme Lord. So speaking about this principle, now why Krishna is stressing on this point? Because see, in this material world, there are different category of people. Some people are who are interested in the Brahman aspect of the Lord as a impersonal feature of the Lord. Their concept is non-dualism, right? Non-duality. Non-duality means everything is one. There is no second. There is no duality. So Supreme Lord is the ultimate truth, and this material world or this Maya, that does not exist. That is just an illusion. Because if they accept the Supreme Lord as well as the Maya, it will lead to duality. That then there are two different things. So that's why to stick with this concept of non-duality, they believe that okay, Supreme Lord exists and the material world or this Maya, this is just an illusion. As long as we are in illusion, we consider this material world, but when we come to real knowledge, real understanding, then we are free from this concept of duality. And then there are second category of people who are believers of duality. Duality means two different aspects. Supreme Lord is truth, and this material world is truth. There is spiritual reality that is also true. There is material reality that is also true. So both exist simultaneously. And then our concept is achintya bheda abhed. So simultaneously one and different. So the Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhant is yes, Supreme Lord exists. He is the supreme reality. He is the supreme truth. This material world also exists. This material world is also true. And everything here is as expansion of Krishna's energy. That is expansion of Lord's energy. So that is, so both are same at the same time and as still different. The concept of Achintya Bhed Abhed Tattva. So there is oneness also and there is difference also. So with that concept, what does it really say is that Supreme Lord is existing and his energies are pervaded everywhere. So that's why Krishna is saying that one who sees everything and every object and every activity as the aspect of Supreme Lord, he attains to that supreme destination. There are many different philosophers, many different poets who have given their versions of understanding about the Supreme Lord. In 500 years ago, or even up to this time of influence of Islamic culture in India, when the Mughals were coming and the whole culture was getting influenced by the Islamic culture in our language, in our practices. So everywhere the influence of Islamic culture was there. So many Islamic poets were there who also did a lot of poetry, like this famous poet as what is that, Mirza Ghalib, right? Mirza Ghalib and so many other poets, they also gave so much of poetry kind of explaining the supreme truths, explaining the supreme reality. So Ghalib had one uh, what do you call as his poetry saying, ए साकी पीने दे मुझे मस्जिद में भी, वरना ये बता दो कि अल्लाह कहाँ नहीं है. So his version of saying is, let me drink even in masjid or even in the place of worship, because God exists everywhere. Otherwise, show me a place where God does not exist. So ultimately, his point of saying is that God is existing everywhere, no matter either it's in the place of worship as a temple or mosque or even somewhere outside. So what is the point if I do drink outside or drink in the temple or in the place of worship? Then there was another poet who came later, and in answer to Mirza Ghalib's this poetry, he said, "ए गालिब, तू जाके देख काफिर के दिल में, और अल्लाह नहीं रहता काफिर के दिल में." So his point was saying that in the heart of a non-believer, in the heart of an atheist, God does not exist. And then the third poet came in answer to the second poet's this poetry. He said, God exists in the atheist heart also. The only thing is the atheist does not know that. So even somebody may say, I'm atheist, I do not believe in existence of God. God exists in his heart also, even though he may not accept his or he may not know about it. So the overall point is God exists everywhere. And if somebody can perceive the presence of God everywhere in all activities, in all object, he is the real transcendentalist. He is the real spiritualist. And for him, he can attain the spiritual destination very quickly. So after explaining the principle of sacrifice through this metaphor of yajna, Lord Krishna explained that there are many different category of people who perform different degree of sacrifice, who perform different sacrifices. And text 25 to text 29, Lord Krishna explains many different type of sacrifice people perform. And what is the purpose of performing the sacrifice? Purpose of performing the sacrifice is, there are three different purposes of performing the sacrifice, which Krishna is explaining through these verses. The first purpose or the first benefit of performing the sacrifice is somebody desiring material enjoyment in this world. Is somebody desiring some material gain within this world. That is one purpose of performing sacrifice. The second purpose of performing sacrifice is one desiring for purification of the heart. So somebody just want to purify himself. So for that purpose, somebody performs the sacrifice, perform the austerity. The third purpose of performing the sacrifice, austerity, is to attain the Supreme Lord. Now, again, that also has a different levels, different degrees. Somebody is interested only in the Brahman aspect of the Lord. Somebody want to attain the personal association of the Supreme Lord, attaining to the supreme destination, supreme abode. So the third purpose in journal, in overall, is attaining the Supreme Lord in his various aspects. So these are the three purpose or three benefits of performing sacrifice. So Lord Krishna says first type of sacrifice people perform is in terms of worshipping the various Devi Devatas. So that is text number 25, where Lord Krishna is talking about this particular type of sacrifice, that people perform the worship of Devi Devatas by offering different gifts for them. Devam eva pare yagyam yoginah paripasate. So they worship the different Devi Devatas, they offer various gifts to them for pleasing that Devi Devata with the desire to gain something within this material world. So these people are called Bahu Ishwaravadi. Bahu Ishwaravadi means they believe in many gods. They think there are many different gods are there, or they're all equal. All of them are equal. They all are the different representation of that same Supreme Lord. So these people are called Bahu Ishwaravadi. Means there are many gods. And in Abrahamic religion also there is idea of true God or false God. So they think there is one true God and all other gods are false God. So wherever they conquer, they want to destroy the method of worship of other people and they want to install their method of worship, considering their God to be as a true God and all other gods to be false gods. So then they consider the followers of other gods or the performer of worship in a different method to be kafirs, as atheist people. Right? That's why when the Mughals came in India, they started calling the people living in Bharat as kafir, that they are atheist people because they do not accept our method of worship. So here Krishna says this is one category of people who worship the various Devi Devatas, their various as per their level of understanding of God for the purpose of some material gain. And the second category of people is they sacrifice themselves. Themselves means they surrender their whole own self to the Lord. So that is worship of, basically offering of Atma to Brahman as Jnana Yoga process. And then in text 26, Lord Krishna says, some sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control. So this is Naishtik Brahmachari, the unadulterated Brahmachari. So the Brahmacharis, they focus in hearing from the Guru, and they do not want to engage in other nonsense hearing. They don't want to hear anything of this material world as a mundane sound vibration. So they sacrifice their hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control. And then there are other category of people called, who are categorized as regulated householders, grahasthas, and they sacrifice the object of senses in the fire of senses. So the regulated householder, they has a contact of senses with sense object, but they control the senses, and that is also a one type of sacrifice. So the householder life is not meant for unrestricted enjoyment. That's why there are two words used in our shastras, grahamedhi and grahastha. Grahamedhi means whose whole consciousness is absorbed in the family life, in the house. This is my house, this is my family. So their whole consciousness is absorbed in just household affairs, maintaining themselves, maintaining their family, and in unrestricted sense enjoyment. Whereas grihastha is meant for a regulated life, grahasthite ashrita. While staying in the family life, one is taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. So in that way, grihastha life is life of sacrifice actually, because the the duties of grihastha, as explained in the scriptures, is they are supposed to give charity, and they are supposed to receive the guest and serve the guest. Even the scripture explained, before the grihastha they take their meal, they are supposed to go out of the house and call out 3 times, is there anybody hungry? Is there anybody hungry? Is there anybody hungry? Please come take meal. And then after serving others, then they should take their own meal. So that is the actual life of a grihastha. Now in America, just imagine you go in the street and call out, anybody hungry, call out. So may not be applicable here, but in general, the principle is the grihastha life is meant for sacrifice, serving others, giving charity. See, brahmachari follow the instructions of Guru, and the grihastha's responsibility is to give charity, to maintain the all other 3 classes of ashram, the brahmacharis, the sannyasis, the vanaprasthas. So that is the responsibility of a householder. So the grihasthas, they lead a regulated life, not a life of unrestricted enjoyment, not just always thinking about eating, sleeping, mating, defending, that okay, what is next to eat, what is the next meal, what I'm going to eat, when I'm going to sleep. So it's not about just sense enjoyment. Then in text 27, Lord Krishna spoke about another type of sacrifices, which is others who are interested in achieving self-realization through the control of mind and senses. Sarvani indriyani karmani pran karmanj chapare. Atma sanyam yogagnau juhavati jnana dipite. So others who are interested in achieving self-realization through the control of mind and senses, they offer the function of all senses and of the life breath as oblation into the fire of controlled mind. So this is speaking about dhyana yoga, or what you call as a hatha yoga system, restraining the senses and the prana. So the process of turning inward and going away from the outward, sacrificing the karma of all the senses and controlling the breathing, which is like as a pranayama. So the senses are withdrawn from the world, and the mind is engaged in meditating upon the self. So here the goal is to become practically situated in self-knowledge. And for them, the assumption is that self is identical with the supreme ultimate reality. So the people who are performing this sort of sacrifice as a dhyana yoga or the ashtanga yoga process, hatha yoga process, they want to just cut away from the outward and focus more and more on the inward. And as I said, the purpose is to realize the self. They want to just see the soul, and they want to focus on the soul within, not as the super soul but just as a soul. And they think the soul and super soul is identical. Ultimately they want to become one with the supreme lord. And sometimes they chant these mantras, which is tattvasmi, soham, aham brahmasmi. So they chant these type of mantras, which is tattvasmi means I am that, I am also that supreme. Soham, I am that, the supreme lord is there. Soham, I am also that. Aham brahmasmi, I am the supreme entity. So these the type of aphorism they chant, and their purpose is to become one with the lord. That is the purpose of attaining the brahman. Brahman means as the impersonal aspect of the lord. So once there was a person who was following some brahmavadi and his so-called transcendentalist. And this transcendentalist taught him the mantra that, okay, you just chant this mantra, soham, soham, soham. I am that, I am that, I am that. So this person started chanting this mantra, soham, soham, soham. And he had one devotee friend also. So once his devotee friend visited and he saw his friend chanting this soham. So he asked, what are you chanting? He said, oh, my guru, he gave me this mantra, soham, I am that, I am also that supreme lord. Ultimately I will realize that reality. So his devotee friend told me, okay, you want to chant this soham, that's okay, I suggest you add one more word in the front. And what is that? Just add the in the front. So you're chanting soham, add the da soham, da soham, da soham. So our philosophy is, as a Vaishnavas, dasoham, I am the servant of that Supreme Lord. Right? That is our real identity. Jivera Savrup hai Krishnera Nityadas. So just chant dasoham. So he said, okay, I'm following my guru's word soham, and I will add the what is the harm. So he started chanting dasoham, dasoham, dasoham. Sometime later his guru came back and he said, what are you chanting? I told you to chant the soham. He said, oh, my friend, devotee friend, he told me to add this the. So his guru told, okay, add one more sa in the front. So you are chanting Dasoham, add Sa in the front. Sada Soham, Sada Soham, Sada Soham. I am always that. I am always that. I am always that. That is my identity. I am always that Supreme Lord. So he started chanting now Sada Soham, Sada Soham, Sada Soham. Sometime later again the devotee friend came and he saw him chanting this. He said, okay, add one more the in the beginning. Now what did it become? Das dasoham, das dasoham, das dasoham. I am the servant of the servant. I am the servant of his servant. So that is our real philosophy, our real identity, that we are the servant of the Supreme Lord. The impersonal philosophy is they want to become one with the Supreme Lord, and they perform many different type of austerity for that. And Krishna is speaking about all these different type of sacrifices. So the text 28, Krishna says there are some other type of performer of austerities. What are kind of austerities they are performing? Dravya yajna, tapo yajna, yoga yajna tatha pare. Swadhyaya jnana yajnascha yatayah samshitah vratah. So some offer their wealth as sacrifice. Dravya yajna. And some people offer or perform severe austerities as sacrifice. Tapo yajna. So Drava Yajna means offering or sacrificing one's possessions. So some people offer as a Annakshetra, Annashala or Dharmashala, Athitishala, Anathalya, Vidyapeeth. So all these different type of activity people perform as a philanthropic activities for the welfare of other people. So they are sacrificing their wealth. So that is also one type of sacrifice mentioned here as a Drava Yajna, that people perform charity, right? They do some noble task for the welfare of other people. They may open hospitals, old age home. They may dig wells, plant some tree for the shade of travelers. So all these different charitable activities, they are coming under the category of Drava Yajna. They are sacrificing their wealth for others' benefit. Then Tapo Yajna means sacrifice, performing a lot of tapasya. What is this kind of tapasya? So either for elevation to the higher planets or for material prosperity within this life. So people voluntarily accept many type of austerity. Like sometimes people observe this Chandrayana or this Chaturmasya which just passed by now. So people perform these type of austerities for the purpose of material benefit or in the benefit in the next life, that we want to attain to the higher planets, we want to go to Swarga or attain better benefits. So this process entails swear vows for conducting life under certain rigid rules. Like even some people sacrificing their time, undergoing some voluntarily austerities for the welfare of other people, like Mother Teresa performing a lot of service for other people, not really maybe sacrificing the wealth as a Drava Yajna, but sacrificing one's own time and energy to serve others. That is also as a Tapa Yajna, sacrificing, performing austerities for the benefit of others. And then Yoga Yajna means sacrificing in eightfold mysticism, the process of eightfold mysticism. They engage in different type of mystic yoga process, like the Patanjali yoga system, Hatha yoga system, Ashtanga yoga system. So that is Yoga Yajna. Then Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna, sacrificing in the study of the Vedic literature for the advancement in knowledge. They just want to gain more and more knowledge. So that is Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna. That is also one type of sacrifice. Rather than engaging their time and energy in reading some mundane literature, at least reading the Shastra, reading the Vedic literature for gaining that knowledge. So in that way, Lord Krishna is explaining the different type of sacrifices people are performing. And then text 29, finally, Lord Krishna mentions another two type of sacrifices. One is apane yuhvati pranam prane prana apanam tatha pare prana apana gati rudva pranayam parayanaha. So here Lord Krishna is speaking about the process of pranayam. Sometimes they control the inward going air, so they inhale and then they just stop breathing, or they control their breathing, and sometimes they exhale and then just stop that breathing process. So in that way, merging the outward air into the inward air, and or merging the inward air into the outgoing air to bring in that equilibrium. So that is the control of breathing process. In when they control this breathing process, that is for the purpose of kind of controlling the mind rather than the mind wandering onto various objects. And then the another category is restraining the eating process. Pratyahara. Apare nitya ahara pranam praneshu yuhvati. So not always thinking of eating, not fantasizing when is the next meal, what I'm going to eat next. So one is restraining their eatings. So there are many yogis who control their eating for long, long time. There was a yogi who had not eaten anything for hundreds of years. And somebody asked him, so how are you maintaining yourself? What are you eating? He said, I am eating only air. So that is the level of control of the eating process, eating restraint. So here, after explaining all these different sacrifices, which is the purpose of human life, Lord Krishna says the three fruits of these sacrifices, three fruit of these yajna. So as we already discussed, what are the three reasons why people perform austerities, why people perform sacrifices is either to gain something in this material world, some material happiness, material opulences, or to gain purification of the heart. And then the ultimate benefit is to attain to that Supreme Lord, the spiritual reality. So text 30, Lord Krishna says, all these performers who know the meaning of sacrifices become cleansed of sinful reaction. And having tasted the nectar of result of sacrifice, they advance towards the supreme eternal atmosphere. So that is the purpose of performing austerity. So anybody want to summarize the three benefits of performing austerity? As a take-home message, what are the three benefits of performing sacrifice?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. First one is to gain some material benefits. Second one is a purification of the heart. And third one is to attain the Supreme Lord.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So
Hare
these are the three benefits of performing sacrifices. So all the different type of sacrifices which Lord Krishna has mentioned here, text 25 to text 29, there is a different intention behind performing these different type of sacrifices, and people with their different level of understanding, they perform different sacrifice. And ultimately the purpose of human life is to perform sacrifice, to perform austerity. The purpose of human life is not just for material enjoyment. See, what kind of material enjoyment we can really have in this human life if we see our senses are limited, and the the object of senses, they also have their limitation. So either the object is not up to the level for enjoyment, or even if it is of the best quality, then our senses are limited, how much we can enjoy. Let's say if the child is very interested in eating pizza, even if he gets the pizza, maybe the pizza is not to his expectation. He doesn't like the pizza as much. That pizza is not of that great quality. Or even if, let's say, the pizza is of the best quality, but then how much he can enjoy? He can eat 2 slices, 3 slices, 4 slices, a whole 8 slice pizza. But if you try to give him more and more, he cannot take any more. So either the object is of not of the great quality, or even if the best quality is available, our senses are limited. So how much we can really enjoy? But we think in this material world that I want to enjoy to the maximum possible way, to the best of my ability. And the demigods, they look at the human beings, right? The Devi Devatas, they look at the human beings and they think, see, what is this person trying to enjoy? For to their standard, the enjoyment of human being is like the human being seeing a pig, a hog, trying to enjoy. So what is the enjoyment of the hog? See, if we see a hog enjoying, the hog's enjoyment is he's trying to eat all the dirt from the sewerage. He is eating that stool and all. So if we look at the hog, we will be like throwing up. And same way, when the demigods, when the Devi Devatas look at the human beings, they think, what is the level of enjoyment of these human beings? What are they trying to enjoy? But even the hog is thinking that, oh, I am enjoying the best. This is the best enjoyment I'm having. And they also get attached to their family members, the piglets and all. Even once Indra was cursed to lose his position as the king of heaven, and he had to take a form as a pig, as a hog. He had to appear as a hog for a certain duration of time. And as in the form of a hog, this Indra also became so attached to the enjoyment of a hog in the form of eating that stool and being attached to the family members as their other piglets and all. When the time duration of Indra's curse was over, the other Devi Devatas, they came to take Indra back. You come back, you are the king of heaven. And Indra is saying, no, 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 what Indra? I am enjoying in this hog form. See, I want to enjoy. See, I am waiting for the next delicacies in the evening. What is the next meal I'm going to eat? The Brahma had to come to drag Indra out of that. See, that is the position. Even any particular life form, the living entity get attached to the enjoyment within this material world. But the purpose of human life is not enjoyment in this world, not to have sense enjoyment, but the purpose of human life is to perform austerity. The human life is such a rare gift given to us. After going through 8.4 million species of life, one gets this human form of life. So this is we need to make best use of bad bargain, we say. But actually human life is not a bad bargain. It's such a great deal which is given to us, and we need to utilize this. And what is the price we need to pay is performing little sacrifice, little austerity to make best use of this human form of life. Just imagine that you just now the Black Friday sales and everything was going on, right? People go for a lot of shopping. So just imagine you go to some store, you go to Lowe's or Home Depot, and the $2,000 refrigerator is on sale for $200. Right? So it's such a nice deal. A $2,000 item is available just for a price of $200. But now you go to the store, you go to the store manager and you start bargaining. No, no, this is too expensive. Further reduce the price. What will be the store manager tell? The salesperson will tell, so we have already given such a great deal and you are further asking to further lower down the price. That's not possible. And that is our situation also. This human form of life is given to us as such a rare opportunity. This is such a great deal which is given to us, and we need to pay that little bit price to make the best use of this human form of life. And that little bit price is to perform this little austerity. But we are not willing to perform that austerity. We are always in this bargain. No, no, I want to enjoy this little bit more. I want to enjoy that little bit more. Why I have to do this? Why I have to do that? So always that sort of mentality is there. That as people have this bargaining mentality attitude, right? The attitude of doing always bargaining. Another story I will tell you is once one person, he was going to the market. His wife told, go buy an umbrella. Raining season is coming and we need an umbrella. But let me tell you some tips. Okay, when you go to the shop and when you are asking the price, whatever price the shopkeeper tells you, bargain for half the price. So if he tells you $20, say no, 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 I want it only in $10. So this husband, he was very nicely trained by the wife. He went to the shop and said, I want this umbrella. How much is this? So the shopkeeper said $20. Now this person has come with full training. Right? Pura train ho gaya hai. So he told, no, 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 not $20. Actually, I want it in $10 if you are willing to give in $10. And this person said, okay, na tumhari na meri, I will give you in $16. This person said, no, now I want it at $8. Whatever shopkeeper is telling, I want in half the price. So now you are telling $16, but now I want in $8. So this person said, no, this is too much. If you really want, I will give you in $14. He said, no, now I want in $7. He said, okay, $12. No, now I want in $6. See, earlier you wanted in $10. Now I'm giving you for I will give you into the price which you were asking earlier. I will give you in $10. Okay, let's make the deal. He said, no, now I want in $5. So he went on like that. Whatever price the shopkeeper will say, this person will say, no, I want in half the price. And this shopkeeper was so frustrated. He said, why are you causing so much pain to me, so much troubling me? Okay, take it free. मेरा पीछा छोड़ो, मुफ्त में ले जाओ. And this person said, you are giving for free, now I want two. So everything half price, right? So now I want two. So that is the nature in this world, that we want everything so much bargaining, or we give so many reasons, so many excuses. Why I have to do this? I want to do that. Why to perform this austerity? I want to enjoy in this way. Why to chant 16 round? Only one name of the Lord is enough, right? जैसे भगवान का एक नाम लिया तो उससे पार हो जाओगे. So why I have to perform this vrata or that vrata? Why to come to satsang program every week? I will come once in a while. I will come only on the Janmashtami occasion. So we keep giving so many reasoning, so many logics like that. We do not take this human form of life as serious gift of the Lord to us. This is such a great deal given to us, and we still keep giving all the different excuses why I cannot do this, why I cannot do that. So Lord is telling that if somebody perform the austerities, the sacrifices, he has all the benefits to gain. What are the benefits? He is cleansed from all the sinful reaction. He gains the material enjoyment in this world, and ultimately he advances towards the supreme eternal atmosphere. He progresses towards that supreme destination. Again, because different people are performing different level of sacrifice as per their understanding, so they will attain to the supreme Lord accordingly. It will, as they are getting more and more purified, they will come to the higher and higher understanding of the Supreme Lord. That's why Lord Krishna later on in the next chapters, he says, Bahunam janmanamante jnanavanamam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. After many, many lifetimes, when somebody is going through this purificatory process, they come to the final understanding that yes, Vasudev, he is the supreme reality. So, but by performing the sacrifices, one is becoming purified. Even though he may be performing the Ashtanga Yoga process or the Jnana Yoga process, Dhyana Yoga process, purification is happening. So, when we understand that Yajna means sacrifice, and if we do not perform the sacrifice, there is no happiness, because otherwise we are just going out for our own enjoyment, right? We are looking for our sense enjoyment. We are like the eye specialist. Eye specialist means in everything we are looking for I, me, mine, me first, me first, me first. So everybody is looking for as their own enjoyment. If I do this, what is in it for me, right? If I come to temple, what is in it for me? What do I gain? So like that, in everything we look for our own benefit, our own enjoyment. There is a very beautiful saying. It says hearts are filled with fear, right? There is so much fear in everybody's heart. Fear of losing our youth, fear of losing our wealth, fear of losing our near and dear ones, fear of losing our position. In so many ways there is so much fear. So the hearts are filled with fear, and minds are full with desires. There are so many desires in the mind, so many unfulfilled desires, thinking in future if I do that, then I will fulfill my this desire. So hearts are filled with fear, minds are filled with desire, and because of this fear and desire, they are on the verge of tears, but still they say cheers, right? That is the state of this world. Everybody is just thinking, if I try to enjoy in this one particular way, then I will become happy. And everybody shows themselves to be something which they are not. Like everybody is putting on some mask. And we are too far away from the reality, just putting a mask on our faces and showing to the world something which we are not. And you go to office, you go to any other place, people will be smiling from outside, and everybody is greeting, how are you? But they may not even stay to hear the answer. Right? Everybody is asking, how are you doing? How much we stop and wait for the person to respond. So externally, the whole world is showing that I am very happy, but in the fact is the hearts are crying. Why? Because of lovelessness. There is no real love they are gaining in this world. There is no real happiness we are gaining in this world. Because love means sacrifice. Love has no meaning without sacrifice. If we say I love somebody, means I am willing to perform some sacrifice for the happiness of that person. That is the meaning of love. So love means sacrifice. And who is willing to perform any sacrifice? Everybody is looking for me, right? What is in it for me? So in all the relationships, there is some selfishness involved. So there is no real love. So here, if we really want to get something great, then we need to let go of something little. And what is that something great we want to get? That something great is attaining Krishna, attaining love of Krishna. And something little which we have to let go of, that is that little flickering happiness, that flickering sense enjoyment of this material world. So to attain something great, we have to let go of something little. And so in text 32, now Krishna says all of the yajnas are born of karma. So some activity is required. And when one understands this, one become liberated. So a very powerful statement which Krishna is mentioning here in text 32. Let me read the verse. Evam bahuvida yajna vitita brahmano mukhe karmajani vidhi tan sarvan evam gyatva vimokshase. So all these different type of sacrifices are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different type of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. So Krishna is saying all these different type of sacrifices, which he has described from text 25 to 29. So all these are sanctioned in the Vedas. Somebody is performing the pranayam system, ashtanga yoga system, dhyana yoga system, jnana yoga system, or the worship of Devi Devatas, offering various gifts, or doing some charitable acts, offering one's wealth for the welfare of others. So all these are the prescribed sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas, which are suitable for different type of people, different type of worker. Because men are so deeply absorbed, Prabhupada is writing here in the purport, that because men are so deeply absorbed in the bodily concept, these sacrifices are so arranged that they can work either with the body or with the mind or with their intelligence for the purpose of making purification, for the purpose of getting purified, and ultimately slowly leading to the stage of liberation. And now text 33, Krishna is going to transition to the next level here. So Krishna says that, oh, chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifices performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possession. After all, O son of Pritha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. So what transition Krishna is making here now is, even though people may be performing different type of sacrifices, if somebody questions which sacrifice is better, is the sacrifice of one's material possession is better, or sacrifice done with intelligence is better. So here Krishna is saying, even though all the sacrifice will ultimately lead to purification, will slowly lead to purification, but any sacrifice done based on intelligence, based on knowledge, is always better. Right? So merely doing a task, merely doing an activity without understanding the real purpose, real intention behind, is not as good as somebody doing that particular activity with the full understanding. Right? Somebody may be just doing a particular activity as a mechanical process, but if somebody is doing the same activity with proper understanding, that is much better. For example, from our childhood, we have been doing so many activities just as a mere रिचुअल, जैसे बोलते हैं ना, औपचारिकता के लिए कर रहे हैं उसको. For example, sometime the parents will take their children to temple and they will force their head to bow down, like, okay, bow down. They will force the child to bow down. So, which is good. At least they are training the child to bow down in front of the Lord. So the child may be forcibly bowing down, and the parents are training the child in that process. Or sometime when the sannyasis come, we may say, okay, Swamiji ko pranam karo. So just pay obeisances to Swamiji. As a child may not know the real intention behind, or he may not be willing to do, but the parents may force. So that is a mechanical process. But ultimately, what is better is when somebody is doing it with proper intelligence, proper understanding, with knowledge. So that is better. Somebody may try to memorize the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. That, oh, I know all the 700 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. I can recite all 700. So that is good. At least the sound vibration itself has a purificatory effect. But ultimately, if one understand the meaning also of those shlokas, that is better, right? So in the beginning, we may tell the child, just kind of cram it, memorize it. Ultimately, the learning, the understanding will come with time. But ultimately, the understanding need to come when somebody understand the meaning of that particular shloka. Then they can utilize that. Then they can put that learning into practice. Otherwise, somebody know all the 700 shloka, but they do not know how to utilize those, how to utilize that knowledge in their practical life. So Krishna is telling here, the sacrifice done with knowledge, that is always better. And how to gain that knowledge, how to gain that knowledge of performing the sacrifice, or how to gain the knowledge in general, what is the process of gaining knowledge, that Krishna explains in text 34, which is one of the very, very famous shloka. And we do not have as much time now, so maybe we'll discuss in more detail that shloka in the next session. But just to mention the shloka, what Krishna is saying here, very important principle, one of the very, very famous shloka which we quote so many times. So tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya uptekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge because they have seen the truth. So the process of gaining knowledge, because the question may come, Krishna says the sacrifice done with knowledge is better than how to gain knowledge. So that is the process which Krishna is explaining in text 34 now. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Approach a bona fide spiritual master, render service to them, inquire submissively from them, pay obeisances unto them. So that is the process of gaining knowledge. And we will discuss text 34 onwards more detail in the next session. So thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. So let's see if there is any questions, comments, any discussion. Anybody has any questions, comments? So everything is very clear. Everybody is very silent. Okay, so I take it as a no for any question. So hopefully everybody understood it very clearly, and we understand the purpose of human life is to perform austerities, to perform sacrifice. And we should not be giving any excuses for performing austerities, because this is the best deal which we have got as a human form of life. So use that best deal without any arguments, without any logics and reasonings and excuses. And the process which is given to us to make best use of this human form of life is engage in the process of bhakti, engage in the process of shravanam kirtanam, engage in serving the Lord, chanting the holy name of the Lord, hearing the katha of the Lord. And that is the process of, that is our process of sacrifice. We are sacrificing our sense enjoyment, our free will or independence, and serving or surrendering unto the Supreme Lord under the guidance of the devotees. In that way, we purify ourselves and we move towards attaining to the spiritual destination. Okay. So, Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.